We've gone live. It is showtime. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Hope you are well. It is Sunday, the 7th of November. It is just gone 8 o'clock. And this is the Retro Bear welcoming you to another live episode of the tNb Gaming Podcast. So we've got 5 people watching already. Fantastic. The comments are there. Do pop a hello in or any questions you have as we go along. Always nice to see people here on this Sunday evening, early November. Hope you're well. And yes, tonight we've got our usual collection of drivel. We'll be talking about what games we've been playing to start with. And this week's specialist subject, as you will know from the title card, is software and hardware preservation with our special guest, who I'll bring in a moment, just so that you can ready yourselves ready for the question. So an interesting subject tonight, something I think we've probably all debated about, and we will get to that in more detail as we go along. That's my phone telling me we've gone live, which is great. So all is well. Yeah, it's been a busy old week here at home, and I've been at it non-stop all day. In fact, I've got to be honest with you, when Mrs. Bear offers you the weekend of some hammering and screwing in the spare room, you're not quite sure what's going to happen. But no, I've been putting cabinets up all day. So not quite as exciting as it sounds, but nonetheless, we got on with it, which is a good start. That's the main thing. Anyway, speaking of which, she's here. Welcome, Mrs. Bear. JBTV, good to see you again. Always here, nice to see you. James, Game Zone, Bird Room in the house. Good to see you. And Sean's here as well. And he's also backstage, which is quite surprising. And Eddie can't be with us tonight, but he's joining us from wherever he may be. I'm guessing probably at home tonight because he's not working on a Sunday usually. Rock and Roller, good to see you. Stuart, Generation Pixel, nice to see you dropping in. Al, Big Game Al, hope you've been watching Al's Road Trips. We'll be probably talking a little bit about that tonight as we go along. Good to see Al here. Those are a busy week. Rob, Essex Retro Gamer, guest yesterday on Desert Island Games. If you haven't heard that, good to see you, Rob. 37 Retro, been in for the last few chats as well, which is fantastic. Martin, good evening to you, sir. I recognise that name. What have we got? Yeah, Sean, talking about the road trip. Be sure to check out my road trip part 2 after the stream. Shameless plug. Yes, I know, but that's fine. Mr. Chef's here, Retro Chef. Hello, too, with the Retro Fiver in the house. You had to get that one in, didn't he? I don't know. Anyway, good evening, Lee. Hope you're well. Nice to see you here. Sean just got too drunk. Joe, Mrs. Extra Retro Gamers were also on my Desert Island Games yesterday. Lovely. Lots of people coming in tonight, which is great. Ginger Hippie Gaming is here as well. Good to see you. Where we go. Road trip looked fab. Enjoy it all. I'm going to bring some guests in a minute. Love you, Bear. Yes, I know. Desert Island Games. Yeah, that was a really good chat yesterday with Rob and Joe. If you haven't heard it before, go across and have a listen to it. Joe Waving. Stuart's. Sean went on a better road trip. He found PS2 and not just all green spines. Well, I would probably agree with him on that one. He got all that way out to buy all them 360 games, but it was a cracking video. I'm looking forward to seeing Paul's as well. And yes, thank you very much, Lee. It was very, very enjoyable to do that. And I'm glad so many people have been very receptive to it. And thank you again to yourself for sharing it and Rob for sharing it as well. Got some really good views on that one, so that was really, really good. Okay, let's bring in our panel for this evening. I'll bring in the tNb chaps in a moment, but our first panelist this evening, we brought him in because he suggested talking about this subject we're going to do tonight. So great to have him on here. Interesting time. He may have to rush off at some point. I'm not entirely sure. It's Dale, Daily Retro. Good evening, Dale.
Evening, YouTube. Evening, Russ. Yeah, really looking forward to this subject.
Thank you for suggesting it. It's something we've touched on previously on older podcasts, which people may have not listened to. But I know you're quite keen to come on and do this one as well. I mentioned you might have rushed up at some point because your wife is heavily pregnant, as we all know. And hello, Natasha, if you're watching. So I hope we don't have to lose you very, very quickly all of a sudden. There's some thumping around upstairs or puddle of water appears to the ceiling or something, and then you have to brush off.
We're all good. There's a week and a half away yet, so we should be okay.
Well, yeah, we can never tell, can you? Really, sometimes we'll have to say. But good to have you here anyway. And we'll get to some more subjects in a moment. Let's bring in the tNb who are here. This one member hasn't been on for quite a few weeks. Nice to have him back. He's battling a bit of a cold, so bear with him if his voice does run out halfway through. It's your friend of mine, Pete Fighter 2. Good evening, Pete.
Good evening, Russ. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm absolutely knackered, mate, from the waist down. I'm beginning wondering if my knees are ever going to work ever again after this weekend. It's been
your knees. That's all right.
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. It sort of starts. Yes. I mean, it's the whole entire lower half of my body really has got completely shagged. To be fair, but that's what it is anyway. But good to see you back, mate. Nice to have you back on the
It's good to be
podcast.
back.
Good. John Retro Kit here as well. This is Natasha. I'm pretty sure I'll hang in there for tonight. Great. If you don't, we were talking about backstage. We may have the very first tNb baby, which is brilliant. That would be fantastic if we could do that. So there we go. Si's had a good fire this week, and yeah, it's been a good day to do something like that. Weather's not been too bad. Much more drier than it has been. So that's good. Do love a good fire. And Side probably does the best fires on YouTube, no doubt about it. His fireside chats were great. Do more of those, Si, which I want to see more of those. Let's bring in somebody else who hasn't been on for quite some time. The sexiest man on YouTube, looking a bit, we say, trimmed tonight than he usually has been. It's your friend of mine, Nath Retro.
Good evening.
Good evening.
About the TN baby, I think that would be amazing.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
The new baby. That's what it stands for.
That would be,
that's true. Yes. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. That's a good point. Lee's here. Good evening, Lee. And also Bro Seb as well. Good to see you here, mate. That's good. Sorry, I do apologise. I am way behind with YouTube, so I will check that one out. I do apologise, mate. It's I've been hammering and banging all weekend, as they say. So that's one of those.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah, probably. I'm so tired. I don't know what I'm doing at the moment, and I'm just clicking on buttons here at the moment. Loving the burial T-shirt, Dale. That's good. It's a step up from Eddie's ISIS one that was on last time when he was on here anyway, if you remember that.
Yeah. Where my Palestine one this week, I thought might be a bit controversial.
Yeah, I think the Retro 5 are all in the house as well, which is good to have them here. So
you think?
That's good. I think their next stream's on the 17th. It's a week Wednesday, I believe, chaps. So I'm sure Lee will post a comment in there. And let's bring in our final panellist tonight. Fresh from his road trip. Light of cash. It's Retro Games Revived. It's Sean.
Evening, fellas.
Good evening. I bet that was an expensive trip, wasn't it, mate?
That was quite an expensive trip, mate. Yes, the old wallet is a lot lighter than it was when I set off. But yeah, I mean that's what it was all about. And I bagged a good stack of PS2 games. I've still got this bloody cough and this damn ear infection and all sorts that came with bloody road trip as well. But yeah, what a fantastic time. Yeah.
Good. It looked like a lot of fun. I'm gutted I missed it, but to be honest with the money I've spent on what I've been doing, there's probably been very little chance of me going anyway. And to be honest, that took precedent. But if anything ever goes on like that in the future again, then I'm sure we'll hear about it. I know Al mentioned it, didn't he? Retro Dome Music all the way from Germany. Very good evening to you, sir. Thank you for calling by.
Evening.
And there we go. And yet, Lee's confirmed Retro 5 next episode is the 17th of November. So do check that. We'll put the date in your diary for it. So remember the 17th of November. Indeed. If you say Retro Chess name 3 times, he appears in the mirror behind you. I think that's what I've heard anyway.
I wonder who that was.
It's the hat that gives it away. It's the hat. Yeah. Anyway, let's do what we usually do on the tNb. We sort of go through what people have been playing recently. If anybody has been playing anything, I'll start with Dale. Dale, is any games that you've been spinning lately that you'd like to recommend to our viewing audience this evening?
I have gone back to Dragon Age Inquisition. So I had it on PS3 quite a while ago and absolutely loved it. It was kind of a game that came out around the same time as the PS4 release, I think. So I got it on PS4 recently. It's a mega cheap game on PS4. It's like 4 or 5 quid. And just been rolling through that, really. Really, really fun RPG. Sort of rejuvenated my love for that series, and so much so that I then went and bought a poster because I've been wanting to fill out the games room a bit more with some more posters. So I've actually got it down here, just a little A2 Inquisition poster.
Nice.
Let's bring you up to full screen on that one, mate. There we go. I think that was a game, that big game Al described as Dragon Age in question the other day on his video. but then again, that's what Al does, doesn't it? He's great at reading his names out.
yeah, I really enjoyed that, and Natasha enjoys watching it too. Obviously, it's a very sort of cinematic style game, and it's one of the first like games that I played on the PS5. Even though it's a PS4 game, it's running in like a PS4 Pro mode, and it does look awesome. So I never had a PS4 Pro, so to me it looks amazing. But yeah, it's really cool.
That's good.
Nice.
That's good, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I know you're a big fan of that. Anybody listening to your Desert Island Games, you're a massive fan of that series, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of the series. Really cracked through Origins and Dragon Age 2 in the last couple of months, just so I could sort of get back to Inquisition, because in my mind, I'm like, I would really like to get the platinum trophy on that at some point. So, yeah.
No, good. Lee's on a road trip. Me and Rob and Future is going on a road trip. We would love for you, Bear, to be involved. Well, yeah, let me know some more details, mate. I'd be interested to see what's coming up with that one. Yeah, it's so good watching that video and watching the guys doing the road trip. I feel a bit sort of left out now, but no, but you don't know how good these things are going to be anyway. Anyway, we'll come back to that a bit later. We'll come around the short in a second. Anything else, Dale, you want to recommend? While you got the floor at the moment, or?
No, that's all for now.
Okay, all right. I'll move on. Pete, I was going to see you swigging a drink there, so we'll just give yourself a second, mate. Have anything you want to recommend at the moment?
Well, what I've been playing mostly is Far Cry 6 on the PS5. And I haven't played all the Far Cry games, but this is my least favourite one.
Okay.
That is not saying that it's a bad game. It is still really good. It's just not gelling with me. I've played every one since 3. I've not played the first 2. But it's not gelling with me as well as especially Far Cry 3, because that was amazing. But that being said, I am still enjoying it a lot. It's sort of like a sort of open world first person shooter with like RPG elements. For those who don't know, it's kind of like a modern day Skyrim kind of thing, or Skyrim as you like to call it, Russ.
Skyrim, yeah. That's how we call it around here. It's the accent, mate.
And yeah, for all its faults, it does have my new favorite video game character that has ever existed. It's a little miniature dachshund called Chorizo that's in a wheelchair. You know, the little dog wheelchairs. It's in like a little dog wheelchair, and it's got like a tool belt on it with like a spanner hanging out and stuff. And he just trundles around on there and goes and distracts guards for it because he's so cute and stuff. And it is my all-time favorite video game character. Absolutely useless in a fight, but I insist on having him with me all the time. But yeah,
what are you doing a fight?
He goes up to guards, and like, you know, if you're using stealth, like before the fights broke out, he'll go up to a guard and look all cute and distract him and get like, you know, and start fussing him, and then you can sneak around and machete them bastards in the back. Speaking of machete, Danny Trejo's in it as well for no reason at all, because he's in everything.
That's why every reason to be in it, Pete.
Yeah. Obviously,
machetes in it.
But yeah, I've been playing that. That's what I've mostly been playing for my sort of living room time. Up here, I've been. I started playing Wild Arms on the PS1, which is a sort of old turn-based RPG, and I really couldn't get into it. It's sort of like it's Wild West, but it's how Japanese anime would kind of interpret Wild West, so it's all wrong. But yeah, the story is kind of like you're just this drifter, and you've drifted into a village, and you're helping them out, and then you have to help them rescue a kid from a cave full of monsters, and to beat this monster, you have to use this gun, which they refer to as arms, and apparently guns aren't allowed in this world, even though it's the Wild West, where everything involves guns. So, yeah, you get cast out because of that, and then that's about as far as I got, because I was bored as hell.
Oh, right, okay. Ringing endorsement for that game, then.
Yeah. But, you know, it's supposed to be a real classic, and I was playing it on the PlayStation Classic, and I figured out how to add game shark codes onto that now. So I might go back to it and just cheat, so I don't have to like sort of replay bits where I fail at, and I don't have to think too much about getting good at the game. I can just sit and take in the story, because that's the thing that I really struggle with RPGs is if it's going to be a challenge, I unless I'm super invested, it really puts me off. So if I can sort of eliminate all challenge and just enjoy this stupid, ridiculous Wild West story, I might actually enjoy it. But I knocked that one on the head, and thanks to listening to your Desert Island Games with Inked Northerner Paul, I decided to just drop back into the Legacy of Kain series because it's been upwards of 10 years since I played them. So I'm about sort of 4 or 5 hours into Blood Omen, and super loving it because it's an amazing game. But it's been such a long time since I played that.
Yeah, I know you like the series. You mentioned that.
I love the series. It's I mean, for those who don't know, it's not in the same tone or anything, but it was like written in, apart from the first game, it was all written and directed by the same person who wrote and directed the Uncharted series. So although it's not the same sort of tone, it's like that kind of level of writing and directing. So and voice acting critically, it's one of the like earliest examples of absolutely stellar voice acting. So anyone who's not played Blood Omen, who either has it or has a spare sort of 70 or 80 quid to buy a copy, or just wants to pirate it on the PlayStation Classic, then software preservation actually.
Yeah, but it's relevant. It's relevant. There we go. Yeah.
So I fully recommend everyone. It's like an old kind of Diablo, Alundra style RPG. Very dark, very atmospheric, very, very poor looking nowadays, but I've got a soft spot for it. That's about all I've been doing, really.
Yep.
No Evercade. I've kind of dropped off on that for a bit, but I'm sure
you're Mr. Evercade, and you get back on that way.
I'm sure in a few weeks I'll have a bit of incentive to get back on it when the new one comes out.
Yeah.
Pete's Evercade Corner will return at some point.
Probably later on tonight because of the software preservation thing.
That's it. There we go. Yeah, hang around. It will not be very long. Rob's here as well. I know he's been at the London Game and Market today, which is why he's not with us tonight. Obviously, I've got to mention that earlier. People going on to see that. I know Essex Retro is going down to that. Martin, that UK game, has been there today as well. So we look forward to see all those videos that are going to come up. Pete's Loft looks so pimped out. It does. I like it. I'm just going to put it on big screen for a second, because we didn't do that. But I mean, that is looking pretty damn impressive. Yeah,
I've got in lights up and stuff.
Yeah, considering it's a shed, I mean, that's really good, isn't it? It's the light gun section above your head, which I just love that. That is brilliant.
Yeah. Above this side, I've got Guitar Hero guitars mounted on the other side as well, which looks really cool.
Yeah,
you look like a retro gamer DJ in there. If you had a pair of decks,
I haven't
completely sorted.
My DJ Hero decks, my battery leaked in them, so I had to throw those away. But I'd love another pair of those.
There we go. Lisa, nice to see you both back on there. Time Warp James with us as well. Just talking about that, Pete. There we go. There we go. Good to see James in. Good to see you on Tuesday, James. Wrestle Talk on the Bootleggers chat. Yeah, good, lovely. It's only people in time, which is great. There must be nothing else on. That's why we got we've got loose end coming. Sean, you've been road tripping, so I dare say you've not played anything apart from the obvious.
You'd be wrong.
I'll be wrong. I'm never wrong. But I'm prepared to be proved right. So go on.
I've been playing 2 classics actually on the road trip. A lot of these shops, they've got the arcade one-up little arcade cabinets, and they're on free play. I can't remember which shop it was. It may have been the one. I believe it's where Dale goes to. Is it GT Games in Swindon, Dale? Is that the right one?
Retro Games HQ in the back of a music shop, isn't it?
That's the one. Retro Games HQ. Sorry, yeah. We did mention you, mate, when we went in. Spoke highly of you. So
did you get a discount?
We did actually, yes.
You did.
Yes,
did you have a picture of Dale behind the counter saying "Do not serve this man" when he came?
It's always really funny going in there. Natasha tries to buy things that aren't for sale, and generally she wins.
He's upstairs, Nintendo room. I mean, I'm not a massive Nintendo fan, but you cannot fail to be impressed with that.
It was impressive, wasn't it? Wow. I mean, I was impressed with that.
Yeah.
I'm very hard to please, but I mean that was so impressive. It was the entire floor just Nintendo wall to wall, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
it was
it is.
like,
Yeah,
phew.
it's incredible. And he's got two little machines in there. Well, one of them I played in there was Space Invaders, the old classic. I was absolutely rubbish on it. A long time since I played that game, and it showed. But I fared slightly better at Insanity Games I forget where it was. And they had Pac-Man, same kind of cabinet, the arcade one up, and they had Pac-Man playing, and I was doing quite well. I didn't get the high score. I think I got about half of what the high score was. You know, and it was nice to have a go on that. But I mean, we're only a brief go on each machine, but still, it's something that I've played. Regarding COD,
Yep.
there's no
I wasn't
point.
asking about. I wasn't asking specifically about it. You know, I mean, just be associated with you. That's all. So I know the new one's come out now, hasn't it? So
Yeah. I haven't actually got it yet, but I've seen Joe playing it. Looks amazing. It really does. But there's no point me playing COD at the minute. I can't hear nothing. I can't hear a damn thing. So I can't hear anybody creeping up behind me in buildings, and I'm just getting picked off straight away, Russ. So COD's
Makes no difference whatsoever then.
same as always. Yeah.
yeah. But, excuse me. I did actually give a game on my PS Now a go the other week, being Halloween, around that time. Friday the 13th. I didn't realise. I thought it was just a game you a campaign kind of mode, but it's actually an online game, and there's a lobby, and you either start as Jason. It is Jason, isn't it, in that show?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You either start as Jason and you have to kill all the other players, or you are one of the other players, camp counselors, I think they're called, and you've got to survive. You've either got to try and escape, kill Jason, or just survive for the length of time. It's rock hard. It's absolutely rock hard. And
So that's on PlayStation now. Well, what system was that for originally?
PS4.
PS4. Okay.
PS4,
All right.
yeah. I couldn't do it. I mean, I never got to play as Jason. He just kept putting me as one of these counselors. Well, you're probably better at it than me, Lee, because I found it really hard. Every time Jason got to me, I couldn't know about it. You've got little weapons, but he's stronger than you. He was just killing me straight away. So, yeah. But other than that, I haven't played anything else, mate. So
Okay. Yeah, I know you had a busy week as it is such.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We downloaded that new Predator game on PlayStation 4. It's a weird old thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Claire played it more than I. Or Claire played it. I say more than I did. She's played it. I haven't. But I don't know. It's actually a bit weird, but I don't know. Quite atmospheric. Looks quite good, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Didn't seem overly keen on it. I must be honest with you.
Really?
Okay, let's move on to Nathan. Nath, have you got anything to share with us at all?
I played a proper horror game.
Oh, go on then.
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion.
On the GameCube, I'd finally actually got around to playing it. So only 20 years too late. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can see it's not as good as the second and third one. The third one's fantastic, but it was really good for its time. It's a pain in the arse though. You have to go around, as well as collecting all the main kind of boss ghosts. You've got boos that are released, and hoover them up with the vacuum cleaner. If you're too slow, they'll just go through the wall. And then you have to, the way the mansion's laid out, you have to go down the stairs, round the corner, through a door, and then up the stairs just to get in the room next to you, which is a real pain in the arse. But I managed to complete it, managed to get all of them. And yeah, finally, after God knows how many years, finished that game, which was a lot of fun.
I didn't know they made 3. I'm now
They
in
have.
obviously the minority that made 3.
They're all on different systems. The first one is on the GameCube and the
Which
3DS,
I've
I
got.
believe.
I've got the first one. Yeah.
And the second one is just on the 3DS. And then the third one is on the Switch. So
Okay.
recommend getting that one. If you get bored of Galgun, then move on to Luigi's Mansion 3.
Do you think I'll ever get bored of that? I don't know.
No, probably not. Fair enough.
I'm off work this week, so I've got time to sit down and play it. So there we go. Yeah. Once I've done everything else I need to do.
So yeah, I played that one and finished it. I completed the game like for the first time in God knows how long. And then I moved on to the Back to the Future game, which I've been playing on the Wii, which is a Telltale's Games one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I originally had it on the PC and didn't get too far. So I decided to buy it on a console and play it. So I got it on the Wii. And God, does it lag? I mean, I don't know if it's the Wii or just me, but whenever you have like a switch from one cutscene to another, or you go out to a character to speak to them, there's a lag of about 2 or 3 seconds, which doesn't sound a lot, but it is so frustrating.
Have you had that a while?
Have I had Back to the Future a while?
Yeah.
Not on the Wii, no. I had
No.
it on the PC, but I haven't played it on the PC. But I got it recently for the Wii, and I think it's the script almost plays on like after the end of the Back to the Future trilogy, so it's almost like a fourth in the series. It goes back to kind of a 1930s Prohibition Hill Valley, and it's split into 5 sections. I think I'm on the 3rd one now, but yeah, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. If it weren't so bloody laggy, but I don't know if that's just on the Wii or if it's on PlayStation 3 or on the consoles as well. So
I played it on the PS3, and it wasn't like as much as you said, like 2 or 3 seconds. It was like a second or so, but it was similar. But it was the same with Sam & Max Season 1 on the Wii, and that was Telltale as well. And
I didn't notice that as much, but is it because I'm playing it on the Wii U? I don't know. It
could well be, actually, yeah.
Maybe. But enjoying it. But
I've been looking at I've got Back to the Future on PlayStation 3, but I've been after it for the Wii, and it's just shot up in value. I think it was £18 last time I looked.
it's 12 when I got it.
12. Okay, it's come down a bit.
Yeah, 12. So
If it drops a little bit more than that, I might be interested in picking that up. 'Cause I know my locals got it for 18 quid and they never sold it, so it's still sitting there.
drops by never 11. Yeah.
I have to say, I'll have to keep my eye on that one. I'd like it just because it's one of the more obscure ones. You don't see it very often on the Wii.
Oh yeah, I had to buy it online and never see it in my store. But yeah, good game. Really enjoyed that one. That's might be some other bits and bobs in there, but that's about it really. That's the main ones.
Those are the ones. Okay, lovely. Yep. So that's what we've been playing. I haven't played anything. I haven't picked the control up in a week because I've been too busy with other stuff. But that will change this week. So I'm trying to get some gameplay done and play through some of the stuff I've been picking up lately. But it's just been a bit manic with everything else going on. But spent most of the day assembling cabinets in the other room, which is some people know. So we're getting very close now to being able to establish not say game room 2, because it isn't game room 2. It's more an extension of game room 1, whereas most of the storage is going to be in there. But it's been done out really well. I've taken some videos and done some footage on it. I've still got bits to finish off in there. It's not quite done. So once I've done that, I'll pop a video up and you can see exactly what I've been spending my time and my money on. It's cost me
Nice.
it's cost a bloody packet, I tell you. Well, the problem is the units. We could have gone with the standard Billies or the Kallaxes or whatever. No. Me being me, I decided to go down a completely different route and go for kitchen cabinets. Because they come with doors, you see. So I've got doors on them. So and with the colour scheme that we've done the room in as well, it's going to look bloody brilliant. I'll tell you, look, I'm really proud of it. It's the best room in the house. I'm thinking of moving in there permanently. It's we've got a new carpet, walls have been done. It's good to look at. I've got the telly arriving tomorrow morning. Worker dropping off first thing in the morning with the second-hand telly I got with the stand. And that fits in with all the colour scheme and everything else. But it's going to be absolutely superb. So I am bigging it up, and then you're going to go and go, well, look at the video and go, well, it's all right. But I think it looks great. So that's what I've been spending my time doing, and I've still got plenty to do this week. So yeah, so I will try and pick up a controller and play some games. So when we do this in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be able to tell you what I've been playing. That'll be quite good to do. Okay. Right, so that's what everybody's been talking about. Again, lots of people coming. Gernaldino's here. Marcus has popped in as well. Good to see him as well. I'm sorry if I missed anybody else. Steve's here as well. Hey, sneaky freak. Owls are wrong, and that's for sure. Tends to live in a quid a day, gets money for his games collection, plus spaffs off in public.
Spaffs off in public.
Sean, can you confirm that? You spent a lot of time with him this week. Does he do that?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, there we go. Secret house now. Right. Okay. Let's get on to what we're talking about this week. Just very quickly, Chris is here as well. Retro 48K. Hi to you, Chris. Nice to see you, mate.
Evening.
So this week's specialist subject or subject of the week or topic of conversation is software and hardware preservation. I'm sure it's something we've all debated in the past and have considered, and some may have adopted more than others. I think we, across the five of us, I think we can probably, sort of add and subtract as we go along. But Dale, I mean, when I was sort of talking about this, and you said, "Oh, you'd like to come on and talk about this." So this is an area we're not so going to lean on you about, but you obviously quite passionate about it to make it the subject we want to talk about. Anybody who hasn't got a clue what we're talking about, and then there are some pretty thick people out there. No, I'm joking. Before it turns off now. If tuning in for the first time, we'll know what it's all about. Just give people a brief overview of it.
So it's been on the sort of the back burner in my mind for a while, thinking, "Oh, when are my games collection games going to last until?" Or same for the consoles as well. And then it sort of came to fruition when I watched a very, very good documentary on, I think it was My Life in Gaming's YouTube channel. Very big channel, but they did a 3-part series called Analog Frontiers. And
Right.
if you've never watched it, just go and watch it. It's like watching a film, honestly. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever watched. But on one of the episodes, they're talking about preservation of physical media, and that really hit home for me because for people who collect sort of cartridge-based games, those are just bulletproof. Still going strong now. All you need is isopropyl and a soldering iron, and you can just make them last forever, which I think is absolutely awesome. But then, obviously, you've got these newer systems like the PS1, 2, 3, especially the 1 and 2, where they're just essentially DVD media, and those are predicted to last not as long, and some of them are already failing without having sort of damage to them. And that's the sort of first question that jumps out at me for you guys is, are there any sort of worries in your collection as to how long it may or may not last, sort of thing? Because for me, it is those older PS1, PS2 games, because they are DVD games that I know as well. Be people that are older than me, like Russ, talk about like Commodore tapes and ZX Spectrum tapes that if they've been exposed to sunlight, then they're foobar anyway. So
yeah, I mean, Steve made that point there. The older systems, cassettes and floppy disks as well. I mean, this is probably worrying you to Sean, who's going for a complete PS2 set. So I suppose really, I mean, it's a very, very good question, and you are right. A lot of us are probably beginning to see some deterioration in some of the stuff that we've already got. I mean, you got to look around here, and you can look around other people in the nice room as well. Because I'm not using a double knife, but
falling down as we speak.
You've got the disc. Yeah, we've all got disc games around the outside. I know me and Sean of the five of us have probably got the most in the way of sort of tape, and we've had a floppy disk with me in the old 3.5-inch Amiga and ST discs, and yeah, it is a bit of a worry. I mean, at the moment, a lot of the stuff that I have is still of that age, so the tape stuff anyway. I very, very rarely have had a problem with that. But I mean, Sean, if you're going for a full PS2, I mean, does this worry you?
You see, I still think PS2 is relatively bulletproof at the minute. I mean, all right, you can get discs that are scratched, and I've just thought actually. I know we get like CEX or run your disc through a disc cleaner, how many times can it go through a disc cleaner? I mean, does it scratch slightly a little bit of the surface off? I mean, how many times can it go through without getting damaged itself and becoming unreadable?
It's been said though they can do more harm than good sometimes.
Can do more, you see.
Yeah.
So
I think they're designed to take a little bit off, aren't they? I think, if I'm correct, it's like enough before he gets down to the actual disc itself and damages that.
I mean, I know we're only talking microns, millimeters or whatever, but I mean, I tend not to worry so much about like a little bit of scratching. Personally, I know, like I say, if they run it through a disc cleaner, fair enough, but I'm not too fussed about that as long as it's light scratches. In all honesty, a lot of my games are still untested.
Well, the amount of stuff that we've got between us,
Well, there could be a few duds in there, to be fair, and actually,
I think the big problem with disc cleaners is knowing what they can and can't do as well, because the guys in the CEX in Sheffield will put anything through a disc cleaner, like Blu-ray discs, GameCube discs, and everything. And you stick a Blu-ray disc in one of those, and it'll kill it.
That's right. Yeah, they will.
But I've seen them do it. And hopefully, it's by some fluke, it's come out okay. But no, you'll just destroy it if you do that.
For what reason is that then, Pete? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just know that it's only compatible with CDs and DVDs, and possibly Dreamcast discs as well, because they're very close to CDs. But
I know from looking around the trying to buy disc cleaners before, you have to buy a specific one or ones that you can't. A generic disc cleaner, you can't use the high definition ones, so 360. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, etc. onwards wouldn't go through a normal disc cleaner because of the way they're manufactured. Eddie says 360 are failing before PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. Chris Retro 40, okay, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games are generally okay for a few years yet, but Saturn appear to be failing more than regularly. Now, I have heard that, and I'll go on to that in a second. 37 Retro, cassettes seem more reliable than floppy discs. Anyone got CD games with disc rot yet? I know the old Laserdisc films have, but not sure about games. Now, the only ones I know that are really bad for that are the HD DVD discs, which were the alternative to Blu-ray, the one that was run on the Xbox 360. Apparently, though the ones that Warner Brothers made are absolutely rife for it. They're absolutely, completely, utterly gone. Rob says, as Retro Gamer says, I think as long as you look at them, they should be okay. Yes, I think that's probably... And again, it's storage as well, isn't it? It's not just... deterioration over time. It's how you store them. It's how you look after them. Is disc rot a thing for any core console format over others? Anybody?
There's a big offender that was talked about in Analog Frontier. So Mega CD is renowned for being the worst pressed sort of game disc ever made. So I definitely wouldn't want to be the one who's collecting Mega CD and then say 5 years time they're all unplayable, sort of thing.
Chris uses plastic polish on his disc because he doesn't trust disc cleaners, which I think is again. Marcus says use sandpaper. He's not actually. to be fair, if you can actually use a certain very very fine sand. I had a disc ages
not P80 then.
No. I bought some. I think it's the wet and dry stuff because I've got this really bad scratched disc which I got for I think it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the Xbox, and I thought to try it, is to see if that would work. Because I didn't check before I bought it, being the moron that I am. There's massively deep scratches in it. I'm just wondering if you take it down to a certain level and perhaps fill it in, you might get something like that. So, maybe it will. I don't know. Eddie, Blu-rays are a lot tougher material than DVDs, so can't buff down the same or introduce markings. I mean, that's why anybody ever scratches a Blu-ray, you think, what the hell have you done to this? Because they're pretty indestructible stuff, aren't they? They are pretty much. Castrate Gamers here as well. Good evening to you. Sorry.
I think Blu-rays are predicted to last like 75, 80 years from what I've heard. They're just so much better manufactured than DVDs were. Because DVDs are predicted to last around 30-ish years, I mean, you might get 40 out of them, which is why you're getting a lot of people that say, "Oh yeah, they're fine at the moment." But yeah, for me, I've got this thing in the back of my head. It's just like a little voice that's like, "Yeah, well, you might not be able to play this in like 20 years' time. So, do you really want to buy it?"
That's it. Disc rot tends to be on earlier CDs. Moisture is an issue as well. I've heard some horrible stories about that, and more than individual disc rot isn't actually rot; it's just the layers separating and the metals corroding.
I was going to say that because the CDs that actually have the silver foil on top, the people find that it's more often those ones and the earlier ones of CDs are actually the ones that are failing, the ones with a foil top rather than having to print over the top. Although somebody mentioned Xbox, I think it was Eddie. I have seen some disc rot on some Xbox 360 games, but I did see one on Panzer Dragoon actually that I bought from CEX a while back, had one little pinhole which was near the writing, but I took it back and swapped it for another one. But yeah, that one was starting to fail. So I have seen it in some Saturn games,
Good point there. I mean, cartridges seem very reliable, apart from the battery. I mean, I know sometimes that you got the battery backups in them. You do need to change the battery on it to keep you able to save games on there. But I think Chris also says this. He just beat me to it. Yeah, I don't think cartridges are invisible either. They have battery backup. They can leak. That will cause corrosion. It's the same with computers and consoles. We'll get onto that in a second because components do leak over time as well. And I think, as the guest says here, some disc cleaners are no good. I mean, CEX are going to be using a decent standard disc cleaner. That these sort of cheap jobbies you can see knocking about aren't really the full ticket. You've got to pay a few quid to get a decent one that will work correctly. We were talking about disc rot. I mean tapes. I don't know. I mean, Sean, again, you and me all know about this. I mean tapes are prone to rot as well. VHS certainly. I mean, anybody who's got a VHS collection, check your tapes out because they do rot. And I've got a few tapes, game tapes. We've got evidence of rot building up on the tape as well.
So what does it look like then? Tape
looks like rot, mold. It looks like mold, mate. Mold.
Like
I've never come across it, I must admit.
If you look, I haven't got one up here to show you. I tried an example I could have shown that.
It's normally on the side, isn't it? If you see the cassette from the side, like a VHS, it'll have kind of a white bit that's like your white mold in between the layers of.
You can so I know a guy who collects VHS, and you can see it, through like the windows where the spools are.
Yeah,
you can see it build up in there. It's just.
It's not actually on the ribbon then.
It is, but the side of the ribbon because it's rolled over on itself, isn't it? So it comes in from the side and then just eats inwards.
Yep, white mould, as Marcus points out there.
White mould.
Most durable media is a tape like VHS or cassette tapes. All data backups and servers are still today on special tapes. Yeah, I mean, VHS and it is very durable media. I've got to be honest. You do see. I mean, I've got a couple which got mould on. There's no, but unless it's a really, really bad case of it, you can get by without it. But then again, the only way you can do it is to fast forward and rewind the tape. It should get rid of the mold, but then you've got to clean the player again to get the mold off the thing. So it's one of those. But you clean the head on it anyway. I would have thought anyway. Has anybody had a really bad example in your collection where you've actually you got a game which has suffered so badly it won't play?
You know what, right? About sort of 5 years after we moved into the flat that we lived in before we moved into this house, we had a veranda, but it was enclosed, so it wasn't like open to elements. But we had a big cardboard box, like a big crisp box in there, just full of just bits of crap and junk that we didn't unpack. And I was sifting through it, there were like broken DVD cases and stuff like that. And I found just the disc on its own of Shaolin on the PS1, just in there, just rattling around with all the crap and broken glass and stuff, scratched up to hell. Put it in my PS1, worked a dream.
Yeah, that's the look of the draw sometimes.
It's a really fun game actually, Shaolin, if no one's played it, because it's sort of multiplayer fighting game, a bit like Wu-Tang and Thrill Kill, but there's like 400 characters in it as well, so it's like it's just a lot of fun to play, and it's kind of underrated. So,
Did you have that nervous moment where it goes PS1 thing goes zoom?
yeah, it hangs a bit before it.
Yeah, it's loaded.
No, it just booted up and played as if nothing had happened.
Lucky.
This is a really interesting point, and I was going to touch on this, and I'm glad 37 Retro has brought it up. If a collection of tNb games, I wouldn't keep them in the loft. I think the temperature change kills them. This is it, because I know I've had this conversation with a couple of you lads before about moving possibly things into the loft, and I've heard horror stories about it. And again, Rob's touched on it here as well. Some of the games have been stored loft sheds and garages. You can't know these games haven't been stored in bad environments. And again, anything that involves a temperature change is an absolute death knell for it.
Floppy disks in general, I've got a very, very short shelf life from going forward because of the way they were created. From what I can understand, the data is held onto the disks themselves by magnetism, and gradually the magnetism just wears off, and the data literally just falls off the disk. And depending on how they've been stored, it can prolong it a little bit. But floppy disks in general, in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, will just be extinct virtually, which is why my first protocol when I got this Amiga off Sean was to get a GoTech drive for it, because I'm sure the people who made games like, I don't know, Bob's Bad Day, shall we say, weren't expecting some fat bearded dickhead in his loft to be playing them in 2021.
I can't think of many.
Well, one fat bearded dickhead was playing it in his loft last Wednesday, so that's all thanks to my GoTech drive.
I just thought of something interesting with regards to what I was saying about temperatures. As my friend bought a large kind of collection of consoles and games from a woman who lives not too far from us. I think it was husband's collection or ex-husband's collection or something like that, and she kept it outside in what would be kind of an animal shed almost.
I know you're talking about.
Thing, it made me want to cry, and I'll maybe try and find a link so I can put it here because my friend got some footage of it. But it was just a cinder block kind of walls with a roof that was just wooden with kind of corrugated cement on top. And when it rained, it would leak through that roof, and it would just, everything was sweat. The walls would sweat, and it's just consoles piled high. Some were in plastic boxes, some were not. And there was a Vectrex he bought from in there actually. And he said when he got it home, it was sodding wet. The box was soaked. It was wet inside.
Oh my!
And he took it home. Put it on his floor because he had underfloor heating, and left it 2 days and turned it on, and it worked. So surprising as, but he did get some Mega CD games from there. I think one of those was actually rotten. I think it was the actual top had started to peel away from it. It got that bad.
Oh,
so
goodness,
yeah, it certainly is. If you are going to keep games, I wouldn't keep them outside in a shed. I know some people do, and people have insulated sheds and things, but I'm not sure how safe that's going to be unless you can keep it temperature regulated all the time.
That was a horror story when you told us about that one.
Wake up screaming in the middle of the night sometimes.
I remember seeing that video, Nate, that your mate had put out. It's a horror film, isn't it? It's actually not a film.
Amigas, Ataris, old BBC micros, modern consoles, Mega CDs, everything in there. A lot of it, the cartridge-based stuff, though, did work. So it just shows if it is kept out there, whether that was underneath something, I don't know. But it was so sodden in there for those days. I felt bad kind of seeing it. Really, I wanted to run in there and save stuff.
You see, Nave's picked up on something, right? You're on about sweating, right? You know all these people that own Nintendo cardboard and they've got these plastic protectors. Do they not fear that temperature-wise, temperature change, it could condensate inside the box? Surely that's gonna ruin
for moisture to form in there. There has to have been moisture to start with to condense. So as long as you put it in there and keep it dry when you put it in, it should be perfect.
If you're storing it,
in an open window, or
or the bathroom, I wouldn't put him in the bathroom.
store them in the bathroom. Didn't Al want to store some stuff in the bathroom at one point? Al, how's your stuff in the bathroom? In the towel cupboard. Sure, he said he ran out of room. So
the towel cupboard. It's the airing cupboard. It's the towel cupboard. Don't
thing.
I will be back in
You have a cupboard for towels in your house. Why?
Well, there's towels in it, so it's a cupboard.
Is that in the west wing or the east wing?
Both are 2 airing cupboards because it's so vast in my mansion.
So Dad, as you brought this up, what's the answer then, my friend? If we are at some point in the future going to have all this unplayable plastic around us, we can't just chuck it in the sea because that'll just like annoy the ghost of David Attenborough. So what is the answer to solving this problem?
In my mind, it's just being aware of that factor, knowing how to preserve games and making backups. Same as you would if you're a PC gamer. Yeah.
Backups? Okay.
If you're a PC gamer, obviously all your stuff's like on the cloud, and when you log into Steam, everything's just on the cloud. That's a backup. But I did the same with my PS2. So every PS2 game I buy, I just put it in my laptop, burn it to an ISO file, and then I've put the ISO file on the hard drive, and then the hard drive's in the PS2. So I'm not wearing down the disc by playing it as such. I can play the disc if I wanted to, but I'd rather play it on the hard drive and preserve the physical media, sort of thing. And the same with other cartridge-based games as well. I mean, saying that cartridge games are predicted to last like forever, pretty much, because they've got these little capacitors in the cartridge that are not being powered whilst you're not using them. They're going to last pretty much forever, because as long as you keep an eye on them not having any sort of leakage, they're going to last forever.
I disagree.
Oh,
okay. The challenge.
CDI.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you about Philips CDI. So Sean will know about this. So the creators of Philips CDI devised to store information on that. They would use a clock battery, and they decided to put that battery in the most obvious place, in a microchip. So when a battery fails, it's inside the microchip. What can you do? You can't get another microchip. So what you have to do is Dremel the damn battery out and then solder up in a battery holder to actually power it, and then wire that into the chip. So that is an exception to that rule, where it's just so poorly designed and made. Although that is a bit of a one-off, just show that hardware isn't going to last forever on some things.
Yeah, maybe I was being a bit too ambitious by my broad spectrum. But for things like common cartridge-based systems, say like Atari 2600 or Mega Drive or SNES or stuff like that, I have full confidence that I'll be playing those until I die. It's quite a morbid thing, but sometimes I do think, what am I going to be playing or doing with my time when I retire? Well, I want to be playing my fucking games. So
is that more because
you're like 12 years old? You've got ages to go before you retire, anyway.
I want to retire. I want to retire by the 50s.
Dale's actually got a point there, because he was saying about cartridge based, and the CDI isn't actually cartridge based, is it? It's CD. And Chris has already Retro 48K says the capacitor in the Xbox as well. Those fail and destroy the system. So are we just saying that the cartridge based systems, the original early cartridge based systems, are just better designed because the way they kind of read the media is different to modern consoles? And modern consoles, everything is on the disc, whereas with the cartridges, it's mainly just how the system interprets the cartridge to play the game. So those ones are much more reliable, I think, overall. Absolutely. And much less likely to fail.
I just wanted to pick up on some of the Essex Retro Gamer said that it's still depending on. I don't think that's all CDIs. Is fine? Mine unfortunately, seems to have that problem. But Nath's just mentioned, and I don't know where to go with it next, kind of thing. It does still load up certain games, but it's quite temperamental. Sometimes I'll just fire it up. There's just a black screen. And sometimes it comes up with some kind of memory message. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That I've got to delete certain things. And I can't do naught with it. I can't delete anything with it. And I just basically have to turn it on until it eventually fires a game up.
You definitely got to keep an eye on the systems. There's definitely like some telltales when stuff is starting to fail. With my original Mark I Mega Drive, it was the fact that the sound was starting to go a bit funny. It would like start off quiet, and then you'd be playing 10 minutes, and then suddenly, because you've whacked up the volume, it would just go boom, and it's like 100 times louder. And that is a telltale sign that the capacitors inside are failing. So at that point, I was like, send it off to someone who knows how to recap it properly. It'll cost maybe 40 quid, but it will last another 30, 40 years. And it's worth it to me.
Yeah.
Claire's called it there.
Yeah. I know, because I've seen her work on enough capacitors, and I what about opening my Amiga up? I hate to see what's happening with that. But
The Game Gears would have
Open your Amiga up. It's fascinating because they named all the chips. Like,
oh yes, I know that. Yeah, they got staff names for them.
One of them's called Fat Angus.
Angus.
Like Debs. I think one's called Debs or something. One's called Fat Angus.
Paul.
Yeah.
They were just Pauline. That's another one.
Yeah. I want to go back to this comment that Eddie made here, which I think is great. It's how I see collections like art collections, but with a use once the game stops working, then you are just left with an art collection. And I think that's right. And Steve followed up very well with saying, EverDrives are a good solution. I want to touch on this as well. I mean, how do we all feel about? I know Dale mentioned the backup word there, but I mean, EverDrives, emulation. Where do we all sit on this? I mean, I don't lose sleep over it. I'll be honest with you. If it's easier for me to play something off emulation, or I can play a game that I haven't got off emulation, I will do so.
I like to use a term that I heard coined by UK Crowd Gaming, and that is that I'm an emulation enthusiast. And I think that's a nicer way of saying a dirty pirate. But yeah, I've got a couple of drives. I've got the Retro Freak. I've got that's loaded up with like everything basically that's like 8 or 16-bit is on my Retro Freak essentially. I've got my PlayStation Classic loaded up, not with a full collection, but with stuff I want to play. I've got a Mega Drive EverDrive, which has like got a full Mega Drive collection, Master System collection on it. I've got an N64 EverDrive, which is full. I honestly think it's that when we're talking about software preservation, I think honestly, as bad as some people say it, I think piracy is the way to go. And until I've got the GoTech as well. That's got like 600 non-Amiga games on it. And then I've got like an R4 card and a GBA EverDrive thing for my DS. So I just think until they give us a decent way of playing these games, and I would happily pay for them. I honestly think piracy is the way to go. And I've said before that, like I said, I was talking about Bob's Bad Day earlier, which is, for those who don't know, it's an Amiga game where you're just a head and it's like a ball. And you've got to rotate the level to like roll it towards a goal. A little bit like the bonus levels from Sonic 2 or 1? No.
1.
Sorry.
No, 2. Jump 1.
Yeah. Nowhere can you play that game now legally. I'm sure you can't. I mean, I think it's probably abandonware, to be honest. So probably you can just download it, but it's like there's no real way of acquiring this game and any money that you put into it to go back to the people who made it. So what is the harm in pirating that, really? I mean, when you're buying games from second-hand retailers, when you're buying physical games from second-hand retailers, nobody who actually put in any work towards that game is profiting from it. So in my eyes, it's kind of the same sort of thing. I wouldn't dream of like mod chipping the PS5 when that becomes a thing and just downloading all the new stuff. I still want to put money into the gaming industry. I don't see the problem if nobody is getting anything who originally worked on the game. I don't see the problem in pirating that kind of thing.
Yeah. And you still collect physical as well, don't you?
Oh yeah. I've kind of got what I want physically now, though, to be fair. I'm more interested in buying systems now, but yeah, it's like I said earlier about playing Blood Omen. That cost me 40 odd quid way back when the PS2 was sort of in the middle of its lifespan. I saw an advert in Retro Gamer where it's one of these like, so you send us your games and we'll give you money. And they were going to give you 40 odd quid cash for a copy of Blood Omen, so I'm assuming it's about 60, 70, 80 quid now to buy, if not more. So yeah. why? I mean, I would download those games. I mean, I've already got Blood Omen. I'd download those games and play them, and if I ever saw a decent price, I would then buy it. But I don't know. I've kind of lost my train of thought here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's saying like, you know, I mean, if you're buying modern games, you know, then yeah, it's going to the publishers and the developers and that. But once it gets retro, I suppose, it shifts, doesn't it? And you then pay into the independent retro gaming shops, which to me is even better, really. I know we spoke about it on the road trips, me, Paul, and Al, and you know, we were saying that we're happy to pump money into these independent retro gaming shops, you know, because they're kind of feeding our collections. But yeah, I mean, me personally, I mean, I'm not quite into the emulation side of it just yet. I must admit, I used to not sneer at it, but I used to think I'm not really interested in that. Why would I want to, you know, play this game when it's not on the original system? But I suppose when we're talking about preservation and that, it makes sense, doesn't it? It does make sense.
Can I just add a disclaimer in this, that this is all purely hypothetical and represents nobody's actions of this stream or who has ever lived alive or dead.
I know you're doing this. I know you're a bigger pirate as I am.
No, not at all.
You're my first mate. Yeah.
Shut up.
Wake up tomorrow to Nintendo suing tNb podcast for 150 million.
I don't even like Nintendo games. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and if anybody asks, my name is Retro Chef. Okay.
Like what Stuart says there though, about I like to collect original and play emulation. I've said before, I'm not really a collector, so to me it's all about playing. And I'm sort of not really bothered about the collection itself. I mean, I keep all my discs in wallets, for God's sake. I just want to play the games, and I don't know, emulation is fine for me.
Yeah, it's the same for me as well.
Definitely has its place. I think what a lot of people need to understand is emulation is always going to be a thing, because there are going to be people who can't afford to buy the physical media of a game. So they are going to just have a PC and they are just going to emulate, and that is fine in my eyes. It's only if you're serious people like me and you and other people watching that you've made that decision to buy that physical media, because that is a massive dose of nostalgia for you to own that physical media. But that is definitely a financial decision. You're choosing to spend your disposable income on these games, and that's fine as well. So there's definitely more ways than one at looking at it.
Sorry, I was going to say, this is the thing in the digital age. Like, everything is available. Like, now you can go online and just download the game as soon as it comes out. Or if you have an older game, like you said, that you want to play, if you want to own it, you'll go out and buy it. If you just want to play it, you can have it downloaded to play like in about 5-10 minutes, and then in half an hour you're playing it, rather than having to go out and scour the country or eBay to buy one and then it turn up like half a week later or whatever.
Yeah, you've got to be certain sometimes that it's going to be a game that you're going to enjoy and make the most out of. I mean, you can watch reviews and everything, but until you're actually playing that game, are you really going to know?
No.
Okay, just going through some comments. We'll come back to that in a second. Eddie says lots of CD emulation devices for your retro hardware too. You can use mode for Dreamcast, Saturn, and PlayStation 1 that way. As long as they're SD drives, you're good to go. I've got an emulation set up on my original Xbox, which works beautifully. MAME, which I think was the Rock and Roller mentioned, was one of the first one I ever got into, which was all the arcade stuff. Rob, these days I only play things I own, mostly due to the thrill of the chase. I completely agree with that. Whatever's the best for the individual, and again, it's down to each individual person. Stuart's quite right to point out. Anybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s, piracy. I mean, cripes, we were all walking around with patches and peg legs. That was absolutely rife back then. Emulation is amazing. The convenience, playing with the wireless controller, save states, upscaling. Yeah, all the stuff again that you wouldn't have had at the time. People again, don't go back. A lot of those games didn't have the ability to save.
Miss the 80s.
Yeah, I know.
Even
It was basic back then, wasn't it?
Sort of sharing back then. It's like Pac-Man. It's like, we'll have. You can't just have Pac-Man. We'll have Muncher. Like, we'll share the same game and just relabel it.
But if anybody does it to Fast, do you remember
Fast?
Yeah. If you knew somebody who was selling pirated games, there was a telephone years, and you could phone the telephone number, report them, and you get like £1,000 or something like that. I mean, nobody did. I think everybody. I think you rang the phone number, it just was dead, or it went through to one of those pornographic lines we used to have back in the day. Leonardo doesn't get them. Yeah, he doesn't get the money either. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Well,
he doesn't make many games though.
Yeah, and the game. I don't know. It's the whole intellectual rights business. Beats playing stuff on a real hardware and a CRT. Technically, it's not legal to play a pre-owned game. You can buy the disc case, whatever, but the license to play is not transferable. That sounds a bit heavy for a Sunday evening. That's a misconception. There we go. Anything you buy as a one-off purchase is classed as good, and you are free to do with it as you want, as long as you don't try to commercially profit from it.
It's an interesting question Chris Retro48K made about playing on an original hardware on a CRT TV, because that kind of moves you onto the mini consoles and things like that, and like Misters and all kind of those things. What are people's opinions on that? Because I'd much rather play a game on original hardware through an EverDrive because it's original hardware rather than play it through a mini console. But I know Pete's a big fan of the mini consoles. I think you are as well, Russ. I know they have their place, but I still prefer the original consoles to that.
That's what I was coming to. If I was carrying on with these questions, a bit coming, and then no, it's fine, and we'll come straight back to that because that's where we're going with this anyway. Yeah. So. Dylan's here as well. I think we have officially been warned because Marcus is wearing a wire tonight, so just be careful what we're saying. Not everybody can afford £600 for LSD Dream Simulator on the PlayStation 1.
Exactly.
No, I think there'll be some. Some of you know, Dylan has no issue with EverDrives. Yep. That's one of those things, isn't it? Martin's here. That UK game has been to the London gaming market today. And yes, Dylan does buy plenty of games as well. So,
yeah,
that's the thing with me as well. Is like I buy modern games. I still pre-order most decent modern games that come out. So I am still putting money into the industry, and I'm still paying money to buy games myself. And I do mostly play modern games, so it's not like I'm just pirating everything.
No, and that's it. I don't think anybody actually is. So. Okay, so this whole business of the hardware, I mean, that was the next sort of thing. So we've talked about preserving software. What's the process of preserving hardware? As Nathan, you can get the mini consoles, you can buy these, mini PC engines, Mega Drive, Super Nintendos, NESs. You can even buy a Commodore 64 preloaded with games. So that's one way of doing it. Obviously, it's a completely different thing. It's not a proper piece of hardware.
That's not really preserving the hardware, is it? That's just replacing it.
Well,
To preserve the hardware, I think you need to recap and repower supply things and stuff like that. I mean, as a mini console enthusiast myself, I still don't think it's preserving the hardware. I think it's preserving the games, and it's delivering a little bit of nostalgia, and they are really cute and look cool on a shelf. But the only way to preserve hardware is to maintain the hardware. I mean, Dylan says FPGA is the future of hardware preservation. It's just popped up there. FPGA is still not an actual original console. It's still, I know it's not emulation. I don't really understand the technology fully, but it is not. It's not like you're buying the original console, and to me, that's not preserving it. It's just giving you a new option for it.
That's good.
That's good, isn't it? Sorry, Peter. If it's an episode, only fools and horses know what we're talking about. Same
That's
broom.
7 handles, 40 through.
Yes, same broom, but yeah. Interchangeable parts on it. Dale, where do you stand on this as well, then?
Well, I mentioned earlier, I've had my Mega Drive recapped recently, and the power regulator's changed. That was just a small company, and I think it's based in Kent and Folkestone. It's just called Wales Console Modifications. But I find I actually play most of my Mega Drive carts on a system called the Analog Mega SG. So that is hardware emulation, which is different to software emulation. So instead of the software trying to emulate what the original system was doing on different hardware, hardware emulation is where the actual system hardware, such as the CPU, is coded in exactly the same way that the original CPU on the Mega Drive was. So Analog is, if anyone knows about Analog has the best reputation for this kind of hardware. So they've released one for the Mega Drive, one for the SNES. They've got one coming soon for the Game Boy, which covers the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I think it's even got adapters for Game Gear and other things as well, like links and stuff. And they've even got one coming for the PC Engine, I think. But these are amazing systems, and the Mega SG is actually my favorite console because it purely upscales that hardware emulated Mega Drive game to HDMI output at 1080p 60, which is just, you look at the difference and it's just mad. But you've got the original pins in the front of the console, so I can use my original controller if I want, using the original cart, and it plays exactly the same. So if it lags a little bit at a certain section of a game, it will lag at that certain section of the game in this Analog Mega SG, which is amazing for me. But I'm well aware that some people either aren't as anal as me in that respect, or can't afford these hardware emulated consoles, because I think analog consoles are about 200 quid, maybe more each. So it's definitely more expensive than, say, buying a used Mega Drive.
That's
their
right.
Field,
That's very true.
their FPGA Field Programmable Gate Array is what it stands for.
Gate array.
Yeah.
Cheers for that.
Not
I'm still none the wiser.
Chris said it earlier. It's a chip that is basically, you can program it to be any kind of chip. It's very clever technology, but like anything, it costs, and they're in like MiSTer devices and things like that, which take it kind of even a step further. But they're less of a console. They are effectively like a D10 Nano board, I think, and you can program them in the same way as an FPGA to run kind of any system. And people, I think the way it works with the old systems, because they are failing, is they laser the top off the chip and actually read the outputs of the chip and then program that into a code which is then ported or flashed to the FPGA chip, so it will actually act in exactly the same way as the original hardware does in processing information.
That's good.
For me then.
You've been rehearsing that, haven't you? That's
Sounds like I
really
know what I'm talking about, doesn't it? But yeah, that's
There we
my
go.
understanding of it anyway. But yeah,
We're going deep. We're going deep.
they're very
Yeah.
they're very expensive but very clever systems, and they are like Dylan says, I think the future in that respect. If you don't want to get the original hardware and potentially have the chips or the capacitors failing if they should do so, then they're a way of doing it. Also for very rare systems as well. They're a great way to actually use them. Yeah.
Would you rather making replacement custom cases, preserving the hardware as the original case is not there, say Game Boy Advances, etc.? Says Martin.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think so.
I'd say
I would agree with that.
If you've got a battered case, it's ugly sight, you want to replace it. You are.
The console's not the case. The console's a bit inside.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I would call that a modification, not preserving. But that's just me. I wouldn't call it the same console. Like, I'm talking about Game Boys here. I bought a Pokemon Game Boy Color a while back, and it was the one with Jigglypuff and Togepi on and Pikachu, I think. It was actually really hard to find like one that hadn't been reshelled. To my surprise, I thought these would be very common, but obviously there's loads of reproductions of it. But I didn't want a reproduction. I wanted the original thing. I didn't really mind if it had a few little scratches as long as it was all right to play, sort of thing. But that's just me.
Rob, I'm confident the majority of the hardware will be fine for our generation, at least with maintenance and some refurbishment, and then you'll be dead, so you won't care so much. That's fine. I think that's probably about right. I used to preserve all my consoles in formaldahyde, which is a really bad idea, so I started doing that again.
Get disc rot.
Yeah, got some on it.
Just dissolve.
Yeah, it was like that sheep in jelly. It just didn't look right, just floating there in N64
Mint
case.
jelly.
Yeah.
Mint jelly.
Mint jelly. Yeah, mint condition. Things like Tetra Onion, which I have no idea what that is, helps with the hardware.
Is he just making words up, Eddie?
I think he is.
Carrot onion. Carrot onion.
CD drives for different systems that are known to fail. It would be nice if Disney had not gotten copyright law changed and it lasted 25 years or whatever that is. Then all this would not matter. Oh dear,
exactly.
I'm wearing a Disney T-shirt tonight. So I'm wearing a suit. All this technical and legal talk has scared off Al. I suspect probably the former rather than the latter.
Time to burn the evidence.
Just figure outside the back of his head, dig his hole. Ian from the Poltergeist is here. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for calling in. Who's got the Resident Evil? Oh, that Dale, is it? Resident Evil T-shirt. Oh, Sean. Sean.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Got it on.
There we go. We had to check which T-shirt I was wearing. That's Mickey Mouse. That's not Resident Evil. All right, so yeah. Might spot the question up. Need to preserve hardware the same way Mercedes did when their 41 cars, hang it component by component from the ceiling for everyone to see. We can't use it then, can you? You need some sort of ladder. I'm not quite sure.
He's obviously one of these arty types, Martin, isn't he?
Yeah.
How do you play your PlayStation controller? Well, half of it's over there. Half of it's on the ceiling. I've got a bit of bacon instead of the X button.
That comment does raise an interesting question, though.
Okay.
I've got a.
I thought it was just Martin being Martin. It's all right.
Well, probably, but yeah. So I've got a hill climb track near me that's like a really famous one. It's called Prescott Hill Climb, and it's owned by the Bugatti Owners Club. And you get like these Bugattis go up the hill sometimes, and they're like over 100 years old, and you're like, how the hell is that thing still working? And it's because people in the behind the scenes, they are still making components for these cars. And it's the same with things like retro gaming. Will people in the future still be making parts for old consoles or FPGA parts, sort of thing? Who knows?
See, I find that absolutely fascinating that they're still doing something like that for cars that old. Let alone if you've got a 5-year-old, I don't know, Beko washing machine and it breaks down, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. And I know because but 100-year-old Bugatti, yeah, what do you want, mate? I've got loads of parts here in this workshop over here. Can't get rid of them.
I don't think Beko is quite as prestigious as Bugatti, though.
It's like Dolly Parton, though, isn't it? She's like in her 70s, but most of her is under 20.
Oh dear me! Oh goodness! Have you seen that picture frame where you can get people taking Game Boys, etc., apart in them? What on earth is that?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Okay.
Yeah,
the
PlayStation 1 controller like it.
The Beko experiment, yeah. I hope Simon from Beko's not watching, because I do speak to him quite a lot. He's all right, Simon, but yeah. A question for the panel, that's interesting. What console would you like to see never preserved or remembered about? Damn.
Action
Dale.
Max.
Dale.
Never preserved. Whoa.
Yeah.
I need more thinking time on this one.
We can come back to you. Pete, you said Action Max, didn't you?
Action Max, yeah. I was so happy to buy one of those, and yeah, it can fuck off into the sea. It's terrible. I spent so long trying to get it to work on a modern setup because if those who don't know, it's a VHS console where you'd sort of hook up to your TV. The games would come on VHS cassettes, and they'd all be light gun games, and there'd just be a sort of live action videos. Or there's one which is like a haunted house thing, which is the most famous one, where it's all sort of like Ghostbusters style special effects. And they'd have like flashing white circles where you'd have to shoot with the light gun. There's nothing you can do on there that will affect what's happening on the screen at all. You can shoot at the screen. All you've got is a little indicator which tells you how many times you've hit the targets and gives you a score at the end. And you can literally do the same thing with like a toy gun and one of those clicking things, where you use to count traffic. And you can sit there and I don't know, you can sit there and watch Hollyoaks and shoot one of the characters on the screen. Every time you think you've hit it, press the button, and then you look at that and you get a score. And that's exactly the same effect that you get. There's absolutely no wonder this console failed, because it is it's awful. To get it to work, I had to dig out an old Roku streaming thing, find a way of playing it through a CRT TV. I had to find the videos on YouTube. I had to, stream those and stuff like that. Such a ball ache for such a small payoff. But I'm happy I've got it on my shelf. I'm happy I've got the light for my collection up on the wall up there. But yeah, that's a console that really, from a player's perspective, needs to just. It needs to get put in a landfill with all the copies of ET on the Atari.
Fuck off into the sea.
I suppose for me it would be probably the 32X, because I think without the 32X and the Mega CD, one of the two, if not both. I don't count on both, because without those, I think Sega is still with us as such. If those go ahead as they did, the Mega CD was probably launched ahead of time, and the 32X was a complete waste of time. The Saturn might have had a chance against the PlayStation and the N64. As a result, it didn't. So I've got no fondness for those particular machines. I have a curiosity about the Mega CD. I've got no interest whatsoever in the 32X. So for me, it's one of those. Take your pick, really. Sean, Nath, Dale, anybody you want to?
Well, I'd like to say first, is Eddie trying to lose me subs? Because my answer probably will do. Nintendo 64.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It's ghastly. It's ghastly.
It's got 3 or 4 good games.
I've got to come last, have I? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Dale hasn't chosen yet. He's having some thinking time about
He's
it.
still thinking.
He's
Okay.
thinking
I thought
carefully.
about it. I have thought about it. I've got an answer.
Go on, you go first. Then.
Go for it.
So earliest example of emulation is those bloody look-alike plug-and-play TV systems like you got for the Atari and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never found a good example of one. I don't know. Yeah, they're not. And in a few years, 20 years time, say I'm not gonna think, oh yeah, I wish I still had that.
Yeah, see what you mean.
I'm just going to say anything Amstrad then, because Alan Sugar can do one as far as I'm concerned.
You said Amstrad.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rachel's just arrived.
Oh,
Don't know Rachel.
forget I said it.
on Amstrad. Rach, this is Nath Retro 1. Please ignore him.
Go and unsub him right now.
Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah. Oh dear, poor Amstrad. I don't know.
No, you can't pick on Amstrad, Nate. I'm not having it.
Picking on Amstrad. I'm picking
You
Alan
are.
Sugar.
Alan
Sugar.
I'll pick the
Through
GX
Amstrad.
4000 or whatever it was.
I love my GX 4000, and thank you for Sean for selling it me.
I nearly picked up an Amstrad on road trip. It were on with the fact that I'd set myself a strict rule that I won't buying any hardware, but there were two Amstrads.
200 quid, wasn't it? 200 quid and 138.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think you'd be overpaying on both of those, to be honest with you.
You did the right thing, Sean. They can get in the seat. As
So-
Stuart says, yes. One person.
I'll come to the comments. Martin, I'll come back to your question in a second, because that was a Becca washing machine. Yeah, for the last 5 years. Yeah, that's about right, really. No, Rob, you can't have the Spectrum because it isn't a console. I don't know. Well, we said console. I suppose you could say system. It just doesn't like it.
Systems. Yeah.
Just doesn't like Spectrums. We said Rach is here. Hi there. Get rid of the C64. No one need have that when you have a Specky. Right, that's half of the course with Chris, I think. Where are we? Yeah, Alan Sugar can get caught in the sea. Can get in the sea.
In the sea.
I don't like him. Right, Martin wants to know which member of the tNb panel we'd like to see preserved for future generations to enjoy.
Mr. Bear, hasn't it?
I wouldn't. I've been around long enough as it is, so you know I'm pretty sure people wouldn't want to see that.
I'd say Sean.
I'd say Sean. I would say Sean.
Sean.
Are we asking who to put in carbonite?
Empire Strikes Back all over again.
Sean's getting carbonite where his eyes are bad. No, Sean, because people in the future are going to need a laugh, and they're all going to be streaming COD. So you want someone who can actually play it. So yeah, definitely Sean.
I tell you something. You could probably preserve bits of each of us. You could preserve Rob's hand.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what he's known.
Yeah, Rob's hands.
Sean's laugh, because obviously it's the most catchiest laugh on YouTube. Pete's beard, because it is the best of us, the best beard we've got. Nice hair, because it's beautiful.
What about Eddie's though?
But Eddie's personality,
Yeah.
and
His knowledge.
my smell.
What about my sultry? What about my sultry Barry White voice?
Yeah, so you mentioned it earlier. It's very good tonight. I was going to ask you to do a quick greatest hits of Barry White going on there if you felt like it. But I understand your voice isn't quite good enough this night for that. But, there we go. The Specky is king. That's another podcast, I think itself. The laughter. If Sean is the real fountain of youth, it is. It is the best laugh on YouTube. No doubt about it. There we go. Right, anybody want to add anything else to what we've talked about tonight? I always ask that. Everybody says no, so they're looking blankly at me. No.
I did, but I forgot.
Question that springs to mind is more to do with like the modern systems. So PS3/360 onwards, those systems worry me for my retirement plan.
I meant to mention this.
You've got longer to go than anybody else. They'll sort something else by the time you get out there. You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
It's a relevant question though, because Sony announced they were closing down the PlayStation Store at the start of, is it this year or was it last year? And everyone just went into panic, and all of the PS3 games shot up in value because they were suddenly like, "Oh shit, we can't download these anymore."
That was this year. That was this year. Yeah.
And that is a worry for the future. What what happens when the PlayStation Store shuts down and you can't get updates for your PS3 game, which has shipped pretty much with a 0-day bug. So
Well, I'll be
It's
all right.
not
I've got
just
Commodore
that.
64, so I'm fine.
It's not just
Big
that. It's, a lot of games for like the PS4 and PS5 and those generations. All you're getting on the disc is a download code and DRM. So when they finally shut down servers and shut down stores and stuff for them, you're going to be able to put the disc in the machine and you're going to get nothing, or you're going to get at the very best a pre-patched awful version of the game, and it is something that really does bother me. The 360 and the PS3, I've got everything I own, digitally or physically, all installed and waiting to go. So I'm not too bothered about those. But it's like when you get to the PS4 and the PS5 and the games are sort of 50, 60 gigabytes each, and you've only got like a 500 gig hard drive, that's where it bothers me, because you have to make sacrifices.
yeah, it's going to become one of those systems that in, say, 20 years' time, that you're going to have some sort of in-depth IT knowledge to be able to sort of continue playing these games, because, like you say, you install games to the hard drive, you're going to need, A, to install a bigger hard drive, B, to back up that hard drive, and C, to just like maintain those systems as well. So
I think that probably what someone would have to do is, if you've got like a console with the game actually installed, is just kind of do like a hard drive dump, similar like to an ISO file ripping a CD. Just dump the information on the hard drive into a virtual file, and then have that to install. Same as like when you clone a hard drive, you do something similar like that with the game. I mean, in 20 years' time, they'll probably have like much smarter people doing things like that. Same as, with the Game Boy and things like that. 20 years' time from that, things they're doing is crazy. But I would assume it's going to be something like that. But actually holding on to the information, actually having it on hard drives, somebody somewhere is going to be backing it up somehow, isn't it? When the store goes down, there's going to be versions. Because I mean, games that have been lost, aren't there? There's games that have been completely lost or unfinished, and somebody's managed to complete it over time or finish it.
What I genuinely think is going to happen is that people are going to find a way of, when the official servers go down, people are going to find a way of like hosting their own servers with backups of the games on them.
Yeah,
and it'll go on that way. One thing you can do with the 360, which is really good, is you can download ROMs of the games online, from like file sharing sites and stuff. Put them on a USB drive, stick them in your 360 and copy them across. And as long as you've got the actual DRM from the Xbox store on your account, you can just play them as normal. It's how I managed to reclaim, because on my original 360 I had the Turtles arcade game, which is now not available at all to download. Even if you've already bought it, you can't re-download it. So on my newer 360 that I got, I got around it that way by downloading it from a file sharing site, sticking it on a USB, banging it in my Xbox, and because it recognized that I had bought it in the past and I had my DRM on the system, it just let me play it as normal. Obviously, if you don't have the DRM, then it just loads it as a trial version. So there is a way around it already, sort of like on the Xbox for games that have been discontinued from the store.
Yeah,
there's definitely ways around this, but my fear is that it's going to become more of a specialist, sort of hobbyist thing where you need all this knowledge just to be able to play the games, whereas at the moment you don't necessarily, if you're, say, trying to play older systems, you don't necessarily need that knowledge at the moment. It's going to become a more and more technical thing to be able to play that generation onwards, in my opinion.
I'm going to say it's a shame James Smith's not Peter Much More's not here tonight, because obviously he still on his channel shows off Dreamcast games you can still get online with, so there must be some server somewhere that you can connect to people, and some people are still playing them.
Really
where are we?
Stuff, that.
I dread the day Rach discovers that games come on disc. But yeah, I know about that. I 64 stuff sometimes just go over the place.
It's half the fun.
Yeah, it is. It is actually half the fun. You know, you're going to keep swapping your tape. I mean, I know because
Will it work?
obviously Rage plays the Amstrad, so it's built into it. But with the Commodore 64, you can keep swapping the data cassette recorders around. Eddie says people are making servers to run games that are online multi-layer that are shut down, so patches shouldn't be an issue for these boffins. Quite a lot of games have been lost. Konami don't even own a gold build of Silent Hill 2. That's interesting. How do you lose that? They just put it in a box somewhere and forget about it when they move buildings. Did you bring it with you? No, I didn't bring it. No, I didn't bring it. You left it now. There's a box over there. No, it's not that one. If they run their own server backups of games, would they mod some of the patches to improve them? Interesting point.
It's happened on the PC.
Yeah.
It's just whether they can transfer that to consoles.
I know that, again, my specialist area is football management games, and there's, I think, one of the Championship Manager games, people keep updating the rosters with the current players on one of the old game engines. I think it was 0102. So you can download that game engine, but with all the current players into it, which is quite fun. Disc. What's this magic you talk of? Yeah, it's a future. It's a future age. It's a future age.
Lock your doors and stay inside.
I found something you would like at the game market. Somebody was selling blank new VHS. You can still find them. You can still. We were looking at some on eBay the other day. They fetch a few quid as well. They ain't cheap. I thought people would get rid of them, but there seems to be something, a market for it certainly, and people are interested. Nothing I like more than putting a blank video in and watching the snow. Takes you right back. Really does take you right back. I don't think you need any knowledge, says Stu. Look at the retro ROM scene. All you do is order a USB and plug and play. Same thing will happen in the future for the current software. Yeah, I think we can go along with that. Maybe someone has a second level of Ghostbusters 2 on the Spectrum sitting on a server. If you listen to Ian from the Poltergeist, there's Island Games, and me, we talk at great depth about we don't believe there's actually any more than the first level for that game. But I was shocked to understand that there was actually an Atari 2600 version of Ghostbusters 2.
Right.
Yeah. I know there was one of the original games. I had that one. Ian, go and check that one out. There's a Ghostbusters 2 on the Atari 2600. Eddie says blank sealed VHS tapes are a good money making tip from the boot out, and they are, because my good friend Bin Bootsell Picking picks them up all the time and sells them for quite a bit. Chris Feller's up saying that Silent Hill 2 issue came to light with a HD remaster, where the poor devs were given an alpha build, so not only did they have to do the remaster, but finish off the original games again. Well, doing their job, aren't they? You're employed to be a developer. Develop the game. Don't care if it's missing. Make it up as you go along.
It's called Silent Hill 2. Do it twice.
Yeah, use these Bugatti parts we've got a lot of over here that we don't seem to be moving.
One's hanging from the ceiling.
If Tiger electronic LCDs can come back out, anything can. Yeah, a lot of people have fond memories of these Tiger LCDs.
That's what they should do for the Evercade. You know how they have the different collections. They should do an LCD. I don't know if it's even possible, but they should do like a Tiger LCD collection.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
No one would buy it. Haven't they?
I'd buy it.
Yeah, they have got the Game & Watch gallery. You're right.
Something I really wish someone would put their mind to is modern CRTs. So what I mean by that is someone actually taking the time to remake this piece of hardware where you've got the tubes and whatever, but use modern parts and stuff. And I don't really understand CRTs that well, but I know they're dangerous to work with, and that is a factor why they're not made anymore. But surely there's someone out there who thinks I can make something similar with modern parts. It's going to cost a lot, but I can do it, sort of thing. And
LG
it's a shame.
They actually do make one on LG, and it's such an awesome looking machine. It's like a really retro looking TV. It's on legs and everything. If you're on Instagram, look for Gamer EFN, I think it's called.
I did see those TVs, but I think they got stopped made in 2013. So
you could only ever buy them in North Korea as well. I think.
Yeah.
South Korea, actually.
That-
No, it's in North Korea, yeah.
Quite the technology over there.
In North Korea, yeah, so that's a big leap in technology, yeah. But now South Korea, you can only actually buy them in South Korea. But this Game Maria fan on Instagram, he's just got a row of these retro style LG CRTs, and I would so love those because they are amazing.
Yeah, they do look awesome, but again, they were only made up to 2013, I think. So even though they are the newest, they're still not being made. So it's kind of sad, really.
I thought they were still in production. I didn't realise it stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah. I looked it up.
Go on, Dale, sorry.
Yeah, no, I just looked it up because I did see that Instagram channel because I do use Instagram a lot. And I thought, wow, what are these CRTs? And yeah, I looked them up, and they do have amazing specs, and they are very popular with retro gamers in Asia. But yeah, they stopped production about 7-8 years ago, which is kind of sad, really.
Do they whistle? If they don't whistle, they're not a proper CRT. If you
Well, I've not seen any come back from in circulation because obviously with the work we do, our guys, bring customers' old TVs back they don't want anymore, get rid of them, and most of them are modern ones. But we had one come back the other week, I think it was, and it was a JVC. I can't remember, about 26, 28 inch. I think it was absolutely huge. It was massive. And I said to the guy, I said, "Oh, is that still working?" I said, "Oh, I think it is." I was like, "All right, I could probably do that for my games room." They said, "Oh, do you want it?" I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, where's your games room?" I said, "On upstairs." He said, "Fuck that." He said, "Going on scrap." So, because of the size of it, took 3 of them to lift it off the van. That's how big and heavy these things are. So they said, "No, we're not going to come to your house and drop it off to you." But he didn't. Didn't look like it was working anyway. But
Peachy man, he made the winch to get a TV up and
No,
somehow.
seriously, right? Yeah, one of those trolleys from IKEA, the ones with the wheels on. Literally, you just sit on the step and pull it up a step, and shuffle up to the next one, pull it up again. Honestly, it's easy as anything. That was, if you can. It's not even going to show.
Hang on. Let me just bring you up to the screen, mate. There we go.
Yeah, that's the LG TV. It came out a few years ago.
That looks.
It's a beautiful piece of kit.
It looks very nice, actually.
I'd love to have one.
It looks retro.
Yeah.
It doesn't it? Yeah.
I would absolutely love to have one.
Okay. Well, anybody want to add anything else before we finish off for the evening? Because I think we've covered quite a lot there. So.
No,
good, right? Nobody, as always. Lovely. Rach likes it, as does Claire. So it obviously appeals to the female audience as well. That one.
That's just my Barry White voice.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Oh dear. Right. So before we finish off, just a quick whiz around to see if anybody's got any videos coming out. Dale, you got anything coming up shortly?
Nothing too big on the cards. I've sort of been trying to do some ideas for a sort of new mini series for the channel, so games room tips. Because before I started my channel, one of my sort of main motivations was a channel called Discart, and they showed off other people's games rooms. I did actually have my room on there, in the early stages, which is awesome.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, I really want to get into doing videos about helping other people with their games rooms, sort of thing. So I'm trying to do more videos on that in the near future.
Oh, you're welcome to come by, mate.
I've always wanted to send my game room into Discard, but because it's just so scrappy, and the ones you see on there are immaculate. It's just a big mess of just wires and just hodgepodge shelves that I've just managed to find from somewhere and not actually spend a million.
Scott?
YouTuber of the year is in the house. A bit late because we nearly finished. But no, it's good to see you, Scott. Nice you popping.
It's gonna have to rewind.
Yeah. There's lots to catch up. Sean, I think you've got. Did I hear you correctly? Say you had a video coming straight after this?
Yes, it's just uploaded just before this went on air. It's the second part of the road trip. The first part was done the day before, so go check that out. But I do have the community news coming up in about 2 weeks. Going to start cracking on with that. So yes.
So it's all right. Scott, only taking the piss, mate. Don't worry. Nath, anything from yourself due shortly?
Nothing at
Okay,
all.
lovely. Moving on from there. Okay. And I've got to pick ups to come this week at some point. I'm not going to say anything too much about that, but it's worth watching. And also, when I finish my room off, I'm going to do a video about that as well and bring that all up to. And there'll be another Desert Island Games next Saturday as well, recording that tomorrow. Won't spoil it for you, but as always, Scott, been at the London Game Market. Yep, quite a few people have been there today. I'm looking forward to see all these videos from there because I know sounds like you all had a fantastic time as well. It was good that was on. Nice to see that event creeping in before the end of the year. I think there's just one more to go, isn't there, this year now, which is Doncaster in about 3 or 4 weeks. So
Can't wait for that.
That's it from there. On behalf of everybody here, thank you very much indeed for tuning in tonight, and thank you very much for Dale for being our special guest. If you haven't come across Dale's channel before, I will get my arse in gear and put a link in the description below so you can go across and check him out. And I'm sure we wish him and Natasha all the very best for this impending birth. I'm sure we'll hear all about it, so that's great. And thanks very much to everybody for soldiering through. Pete, so thanks very much, mate. It's been with the old man flu at the moment, so good of you to call in.
I've been up since 5 o'clock, and I'm smagging there.
And Sean as well. You've had a busy week, mate. So
yes,
always good to have you on. Thank you very much. And Nath, good to see you again, mate. It's been too long, but again, I know you've been busy as well. So as we all are. So I'm going to drop you all backstage before I wind up and say about two of you. So give everybody a wave before I drop you off, and then I'll see you. There we go. That's it.
Get off the camera.
3, 4. There we go. Like a gaggle of performing monkeys. They do what you tell them to do, and that's it. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in this evening. That's been rather fun. I quite enjoyed that. I didn't think. I don't quite sure what to expect because it's not really a subject I know an awful lot about. That's 2 in a row now, but I think we got quite a lot of discussion there. Thank you so much to everybody who's been in the comments tonight, and there's been so many familiar names, so people who haven't been in before or contributing much, but some great contributions, great questions, nice banter going on there as well. Fantastic to do. We're back in 2 weeks' time. Oh yes, we are back in 2 weeks' time. 21st of November. I think we've got 3 more of these to do before Christmas. Not sure what we're doing yet, but we have a spot on the panel. So if you do fancy coming on and you've not done it before, get in contact through the usual channels. If you can't get hold of me through my usual channel, which is probably Pigeon Post, I'm sure somebody you know may know who I am. And therefore they may put in contact with me. But yeah, if you fancy coming on, whatever subject you want to discuss, we can see what we can do on that. And it'd be great to have a panelist on as well that we've not had too much contact with before. Anyway, in the meantime, I shall bid you a fond farewell on behalf of everybody who's been here tonight. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, this time next week it'll be Swap Shop again. My good friend Retro Chef. So don't forget to tune in and watch that as well. That's it. We'll see you again very, very soon. But until then, this is the Retro Bear signing out and bidding you a